Oh, hey, we're here.
It's happened.
It's happened.
We're back.
We're back. It's your boy
Not
Easy.
even an apocalyptic election could keep us away forever.
Not even.
And it's your boy Ryan.
You know it. You know how we do. Yeah. So
You're looking very Jesus-like today, bro.
Thank you. I'm trying to.
You got the spirit with you tonight. I can feel it.
I do. It's in me. Guess where? Yeah, it's been a minute. This is Turtle Soup, the internet, the world's only community-supported podcast, YouTube entertainment conglomerate, dedicated to the entire journey of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all the way from the beginning until I get everyone at my church job to say "smell you later" instead of goodbye.
You'll get them eventually,
dude.
I have 100% faith.
It's working. We're slowly getting some people, and it's fantastic. And
I love it
because it's all a bit from The Simpsons, where they go to the future and Lisa's the president, and then Nelson's hanging out, or Bart's hanging out with Ralph, and Nelson gives him a hologram or whatever. The mailman brings it to him, and Nelson's like, "Hey, dingus, your band can play at my show or at my place tonight." And he's like, "All right, smell you later." And then all of them say it, and they're like, "I can't believe that replaced goodbye." And yeah, so
I always thought it was Fresh Prince.
That did happen in Fresh Prince.
Yo
too.
home,
yes.
smell you later.
Yo
See, I always thought that's where it came from, but
yeah, no. That's all Simpsons. That's all Bart.
Well, I mean,
I mean, it's the.
It
90s,
could be whatever you.
80s.
It could be whatever you want it to be.
That's true. Did Fresh Prince start in the 90s, or was he in the late 80s? I don't remember.
I'll look it up.
I mean, I know that Will Smith was that late 80s? Was DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, like, was that?
Yeah. That was in the late 80s for sure.
That's what I was thinking.
I was trying to figure out like the show itself.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, you keep going and I'll let you know when that started.
Cool. Well, hey, so speaking of keeping going, the thing that keeps us going is our wonderful patrons, and we'd like to shout out Evan Roberts and Michael Hatfield, respectively. Yes. And thank you all so much for supporting the show. I haven't forgot. I finished the shirt this week that is for the part A, like the first half of the year that need the rewards that need to go out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to get on that. There's a lot that's been happening in life, and so we're catching up. But and I'll talk about that more in a minute. But we are going to be talking about some Ninja Turtles, and Ryan's going to tell you what we're covering.
1990, by the way, is when Fresh Prince of Bel-Air debuted.
Okay.
Today we are covering some pretty cool stuff. We're going back in time a little bit to do a bit of a bag of tricks, but it should be a retro feel for all of our longtime Turtletarians. We are going to be covering two Tales of the TMNT stories, the survival game and an Untitled Nobody story from 1987 and 89 respectively. Then covering Turtle Soup, yes, our namesake. The podcast so cool they named something in the past from it. You know what I'm saying?
True.
True. Volume 2, number 1 from 1991.
Yes, that is what we're going
to do.
That's
what we're going to be doing today.
And that just reminded me that I didn't change the ticker yet. I knew I'd forgotten something, so I'm going to.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's
while
funny.
We talk. So yeah, on the fly. I'm going to see if I don't crash the entire system.
Well, you do that. I'm going to shout out people that are in chat. M's in chat with a from the top. He says whatever stock tune. That is not a stock tune in the beginning, everybody. That is a easy original right
That's
there.
True. That is true. I did that years ago.
He says forever the elevator version of For Tonight by NSOC off the album Hack. That's interesting. No, that was an Eric. That's an Eric original right there.
Yep.
John Clemens down for what? Man, we're all here.
It is so good to see everybody here, and it's good to be back.
Look, you did it. It didn't crash. See?
I didn't crash it. Good job. Good job, man.
And our show was still there.
That's so good. Oh, man. But yeah, so if you're wondering, why we're going back in time, it's because we're getting close to being out of the 90s, y'all. So just a little bit behind the curtain. We didn't have the Turtle Soup issues. Somebody actually sent them to us physically. I have them. I vaguely remember who it was. I'm pretty sure I know who it was. I just don't want to say it because I don't want to be loud and wrong. But again, if it was you, let us know. Double check. But
Yeah.
we did get those physically. But I'd just been putting them off, and so now I was like, no, we need to go through it. We need to get them done. And then I had found in my research using TMNT Entity, which is a great website and resource for all things TMNT. Like, check it out. It's fantastic. I'd found 2 stories that I didn't recall reading from Tales. And so, that's why we're throwing in the bags of tricks. And I believe that after this, we've got 2 more issues of Turtle Soup that we haven't read.
Yeah.
And I think everything else should be TMNT hero related stuff, which we're going to probably do something special for that later and down the line.
Yeah.
And then we have the Ninja Turtles magazine that had 13 issues, if I'm not mistaken. And then also it had a UK counter part, but I'm not sure if that's original material or if it's just reprints or what.
Reprinted, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to see.
But those are 2 things, and then there's a smattering of other things. But as far as the journey, we're pretty close to getting into the 2000s, y'all, and that's exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be like an episode or 2 away, and I'm excited about that. So yeah, we're bringing it. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to it. We just wanted to make sure we didn't pop over too early, and then have to go back and do a lot of stuff that would take us off of our momentum. But
exactly.
We're talking about putting Hero Turtles kind of in between different things in 2000. So the 2000s. So we'll see, but we're getting very close.
Yeah.
Very, very close. So how have you been, Eric? How's it been going?
Well, it's
been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I'm finally finding my hope and my joy back a little bit. Like, once you've been purged of it entirely. It's a decent feeling having it come back. It's one of those things where like you developed a tolerance to hope and joy, and then when you lose it and then you get it back, it's kind of, I don't know, there's something.
I've had a recent experience with that, so I'm interested to see where you're at. Yep.
So it's neat, but it's also scary still too. But there's been a ton of stuff happening, Ryan. I'm probably going to commandeer this entire segment, but. Let's see. Let me see. First thing, let me just run through this. Been playing a ton of video games. Just been getting into like just really good games lately.
Me too.
I played Ghost of Tsushima.
That's such a damned good game. And the sequel's coming out in not too long.
Yeah,
sequel comes out this year.
Did you play the DLC? The Island DLC?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I was gonna say that experience, if you don't play the Island experience, it just takes it to a whole other level. It's fantastic.
The Island does take it to a lot more of a spiritual kind of. It's very interesting,
and it gets to your dad, like all the stuff with your dad. Yeah, it's nuts.
No, the Ghost of Tsushima is one of the best games made in the last decade.
Oh yeah,
I would say easily. It's a great game.
And then I went to Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay. I heard some.
Kind of a downgrade. A little bit, but that's also because of the time frame that it was at. Because it came out like years ago. But it was still okay. It was still fun. Like, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but I like it enough to where it was enjoyable. But the mechanics and everything are just drastically different from Ghost. But then I moved over to Horizon Zero Dawn, and I am enamored.
That's a game I always thought about playing, but never did.
You would probably love it. It is wonderful. Post-apocalyptic with like basically the regression of, so you have like all these machines, but then you have tribalism going on and stuff. Yeah. It's wonderful, and the story's unfolding, and it's just very complex RPG elements. And you're fighting these monsters. Oh, I'm playing it every chance I can get. And
that's one of those that I always kind of held in the back burner. I'm like, I do need to play that because it has a sequel too.
It does.
So maybe we can do a little back and forth here because I've been playing a game that I think you need to play.
Ooh, okay.
And it is called Metaphor.
Oh,
Refantasio.
Ooh, there was more to it.
Have you heard of this?
I have not.
Okay, it's a JRPG, turn-based.
Okay. You got
okay, so it's going to get you in your Fire Emblem feels a little bit.
Okay.
but it's very interesting, beautifully animated, really cool story, and the basic premise is that there's a contest for who's going to be king
Oh,
of
okay.
this thing, right?
Hmm.
And the old king that died basically used the last of his magic to make it where like um a lot of wild shit happens. But this big rock shows up in the sky
Yeah.
and it keeps changing faces depending on who's the most popular in the kingdom.
Okay.
You start to gather people like a party,
Right.
and you all can train in these different archetypes that give you like magic powers,
Okay.
but you can train different characters and different archetypes,
Okay.
and then they
Gotcha.
can combo off each other.
Mm.
Anyway, metaphor, it is really, really fun.
Yeah.
It's got your JRPG going on. You have to
Mm.
build your bond with different people. I think
That sounds like
because you
Fire
loved
Emblem.
Fire Emblem,
Yeah.
this would be cool. But the really cool thing is it's different than Fire Emblem because when you get into combat, it goes turn-based, but you dungeon run too. So you're
Oh.
dungeon running, and if an enemy's under your level, you can
Yeah.
just do a melee attack and just kill it like in real time. But if one is above your level, you can attack it to stun it, and then
Yeah.
you hit a but all of a sudden everything goes in slow motion and it's like squad, and you can like squad up and take all your people in, then it gets
That's
turn-based.
fantastic. Oh, that's
So
fantastic.
it's a really cool combination.
Yeah.
And yeah, once you're done with Horizon, man, I mean,
I'm gonna have
metaphor,
to.
I think you'd really like it.
You're gonna have to
It's
send
right
that
up
to
your
me.
alley.
Yeah. No, that sounds
Yeah, yeah,
exactly what my alley is looking for.
absolutely. Like
Yeah.
for the it's gonna be a while until the next Fire Emblem game feels that this is the
Right.
game you'd want to mess with.
Okay.
Although,
Good.
did I
Yeah.
tell you that I finished the most recent Fire Emblem and I
I don't
actually
think you
really liked
did.
it?
Did you really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I played the most recent one, with
Engage.
the Engage. Yeah, I played Engage, and the story got really, really good, and it turned really good.
Mm.
Like, I don't know if we ever touched base because I thought we both tried it and then stopped playing it. Is that what
I
happened?
I finished it a while
You
back.
finished it?
Yeah, and I was not as taken as I was with Three
Okay.
Houses, but
Oh no, it's not Three Houses,
it's not.
but
It
I
felt
finished it a little while later and was surprised by how much I liked it at the
well.
end.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that because I definitely enjoyed my time playing with it. However, it felt more like a fan service game. Not. I'm not saying that in a
Yeah.
negative sense. I'm just saying more of like in a celebratory sense.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh yeah, no,
because
it is. It's literally all about the history of Fire Emblem. It's like the
right.
whole point.
Right. And so I definitely appreciated that, like getting to be
Yeah.
familiar with like some of the other characters from the games. That was fun. But yeah, I think I was wanting more from the story. And but then again, Three Houses is pretty high. Like you set the standard, like the
Three
first
Houses
out.
is another one of the best games made this last decade.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
guys haven't played Fire Emblem Three Houses, you need to do that. It is the replay factor
Yeah.
is insanity on that
Yeah.
game.
Right. Well,
Anyway,
speaking of insanity, so
insanity.
during the hurricanes, we
Yep.
ended up fostering a new cat because
Uh-oh.
my wife thanks for reminding me that my wife and I are taking over. So, well, let me back up a little bit more. So for the last like 6, 7, 8 months, my wife's pop-up shop that we've been doing, like the markets and everything like that, we were offered a spot in our town's catnip cafe that's run by some friends of ours. And
Yeah.
so we've been kind of like subleasing sort of the first part of their building. And then slowly we've been helping it more and more and just doing different things. And there's a whole thing about it, and we haven't done a show in a while, so hell, I'll tell you the whole thing. So my wife and I went to go look at that same building a year ago, and we were
Yeah.
like, we want to start a store here, but it needed all kinds of renovations, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, you know what? Let's let somebody else come in, do everything, and then when they're done, then we'll come in and do it. We'll take it over. Well, that's pretty much what's happening now. Like it's kind of
yeah.
freaky how like spot on it was. However, the people that run it are legit and super nice and hilarious, and they're still going to be a part of it. They're just going to handle the lounge, the cat stuff, like all the adoptions
Yeah.
and all that. We're going to fully assimilate the coffee shop, and we're going to be running the cafe, but making it more plant based in there too, like all the plants and stuff.
Yeah,
that we're-
yeah, kind of in keeping with your theme there.
Exactly. And so so thanks Em. Yeah, we've been taking that over. So that's been a lot of my time as well. But because of that, we decided to take in a cat because we didn't want to leave them in the cafe during the hurricane. And so we got Ferdinand, who is a Hemingway cat. And he's just I about said he's hilarious, but he doesn't say much, so it's kind of weird to say that. But he is adorable. And one night, Shannon just called him Big Sexy, and I thought she was talking to me, but turns out she was talking to the cat, which made a hell of a lot more sense. But you know what the first thing I thought of whenever I heard the term Big Sexy, Ryan? You know what that was? There was a comma in there too, by the way.
Oh.
Any idea? Oh, no, you don't know? Kevin Nash, also known as Super Shredder, also known as Kevin Nash, also known as Diesel, also known as Big Sexy, Big Daddy, and just Diesel. So that cat instantly got a million names. I've been calling him Big D's and Diesel like constantly. So
I mean, my introduction to Kevin Nash was as Diesel. I think that was like the version that took me the most.
Yeah.
That was like my era.
Yeah, mine was probably Super Shredder, and then I realized that was the actor the wrestler that probably played him.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I had seen the movie. I think before I got into wrestling.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, I don't.
But I didn't make the connection. So for me, it's like I learned about he was Shredder later. I was already a fan of his in wrestling before I ever made the connection.
The only time I probably knew of him was the WCW NWO Revenge game. So whatever, he was probably Kevin Nash in that, because that's Diesel. Yeah. All those other names were owned by.
I would still say to me, he's the prototypical wrestler that I like body style wise.
Oh, so you like the big boys?
I like the big boys, but I don't like them to be like it sounds like I'm like on a dating app or something. But like my ideal wrestler is someone like Diesel because they're very intimidating.
Oh, absolutely.
Or Kevin Nash. Like they're tall, but they're not like heavy.
Right.
They're just like sized up. They're like it's kind of like not my scale, basically.
Right.
That's the wrestlers I like. I like the ones that are like they look like a normal person in proportions, but they're just way bigger than they should be.
But what's so weird about Nash is that like the way he walks, it's almost as if he's just reached the crest of where his movements are slower to us, but it's normal speed to him. But to us, it looks like way slowed down. Yeah, that always tripped me out when he's like
absolutely
the stage or the ring.
I tell you what, not another wrestler could wear leather pants like he could.
No. They tried and it did not work. And then
so that makes it 4 cats.
Yes, 4 cats. Yes.
So how many cats do you need before you're a cat lady?
I think
because I feel like
that's
I feel like two is like common. 3 is like, wow, that's an extra cat, and I think 4 has to be that point, right?
4 is the tipping point. Like 4 is like
chat.
I think definitely let us know.
Do you think you could be at 4? Do you think you could be at 4 and like not be a crazy cat lady?
The question
is, think it has to?
Does it get? Does it help? I am
a Primaris Space Marine fan, actually. M says 4 is the threshold unless you're on a farm.
Okay, I mean my whole town's a farm,
with that.
So that kind of works.
She did also say that it sounds like I'm a Primaris Space Marine fan, and I am a Primaris Space. They're bigger, and I like that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because there was there were Space Marines, and they're already bigger than humans, but then there was Primaris, which are bigger than them, and I'm a fan of them.
Hey, you have a type.
It sounds like 4 is the threshold.
Yeah, 4. So, I think having 2 people in the household offsets that just a little bit. It doesn't instantly make you cat lady. If we got 5, that would totally do it. If she was by herself and she had 4, that would definitely do it.
By yourself and 4 is cat lady all day. Does the extra person? I feel like there'd be like a caveat where the extra person, it doesn't give you double.
No,
it gives you and a half.
Exactly. Yes.
So like 4 might be I don't know.
I think 4 with 2 people is okay, but 4 with 1 person is not. But if I go 5 with 2 people, that's definitely too far.
Well, you own a catnip cafe, so this.
Well, that's true. We're about to get all the cats. So
I mean, let's be honest. Like, you could take all those pets home.
Yeah,
you're living that reality right now.
I am.
I was a prophet.
You sang it into existence.
I did.
Yeah, and then I'm kind of in my villain era right now, Ryan.
Let's
Just so
go.
you know. Yeah. I've
Speaking of
kind of
Diesel.
just realized that like I've been too soft. And I'm just gonna. So like y'all might be those of you who are friends with us on Facebook and on other social media stuff. You might wish that like, man, I wish Easy'd like say something to me every once in a while or comment more than just oh snap or whatever. And your boy thinks about it often. He ponders it and he puts it in the percolator often. But the thing is that like I'm so afraid of offending people to be, and I'm dead ass here. This isn't even a joke. Like I get scared that I'm gonna upset somebody or like it's gonna come off the wrong way or whatever.
Yeah.
I ripped that Band-Aid off whenever this weekend when my sister posted about her cancer coming back on Facebook. And I was telling my wife, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to write Cowabummer on this post. And she told me not to, but I said, you know what? If this is how I'm going to find out, this is how she's going to find out. F around and find out. You know what I mean? So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I immediately got a text message back from my sister saying, I'm so sorry you had to hear about this this way. I only did that because I wanted people to feel sorry for me and to buy my keychains. I mean, she got her cancer did come back and she started chemo again this week. But like she was playing the C card a little bit. And yeah, just to show you that like I'm not I don't know. Gravedigger.
I didn't know. I didn't.
Care.
So full disclosure. So Father Preston at work dropped this one on me. He goes, "Did you see what Eric posted on his sister's post about her cancer coming back?" And I looked at Preston and go, "Chris's cancer came back." He's like, "Yeah, no, but look at this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then and he's like, "Yeah, Eric just said Cowabummer." And I started laughing, and I was like, "That is, that's a return to form for Eric a little bit."
I bet.
Then I did not know though that she didn't tell you directly before she put it on Facebook. So now I understand it because it's like, well, there's a little bit of like if you can't tell me, if you can't text your own brother before you put it on Facebook, you're gonna get a Cowabummer out of me.
Yeah.
So now I get it. Now I get it a lot more.
Yeah, and yeah, it I don't know, but it's liberating though. But
I remember, man, back when our friendship started, man, you were like super sweet to me, and I noticed you ragged on everybody else, and I said, "Man, why don't you rag on me like that? Like, you don't like me enough or whatever?" And you're like, "I don't know if you want it though." See, we didn't have this phrase back in the day, but you basically said like, I just didn't think you wanted the smoke," and I was like, "I'll take that smoke."
Yeah.
And when it came on, man, it changed everything.
It did. It's.
And I started ripping on you, and it was. That was like basically us after we initially consummated our friendship. This was the intellectual consummation after the physical consummation of our friendship.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, no, that's the way it goes. I mean, I don't know. I don't make the rules.
There's two parts to every relationship. There's a physical and an emotional. You know, and we just did it in that order.
Get it out of the way. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much been me, I think.
Legit.
I can't think of anything else.
I'm back to painting. I'm back on the painting shit.
Well, that's good. You're really good at that.
I bought the Marvel Crisis Protocol game, miniatures game.
Oh,
it's like a bunch of Marvel guys, and I'm currently putting them all together. And Doc Ock is just the most annoying model to put together ever. Because like he's posed kind of cool where like 3 of his like 4 arms are like down on the ground.
Right.
And that's how he stands.
Right.
So he's floating with those 3 arms in the ground supporting him. Mm-hmm. And he has the top one on the left coming over. And his real arm is holding like a beaker. And he's looking at it like smiling. And then the arm is coming over his back and it has like a little dropper. And it's dropping like a little drop of that into the beaker.
Yeah.
And he's like looking at it and stuff. Well, the problem is, I got to know this. Because the way they have you put this model together, they're just like, clip out the arm that goes over the metal arm. I'm like, okay. They're like, stick it on there. I'm like, but doesn't it have to be stuck where it'll be over the thing? Or it'll be off, right? It'll be like way over here and the drop's coming down, not in the beaker. Right? So I'm like, okay. So I glue the arm in place. At the same time, I thought this was pretty smart, by the way. No. I used plastic glue, right?
Ooh, Okay.
to glue the hand, the little grabber hand that's doing the dropper, onto the end of the arm,
Yeah.
so that I could pose it, because plastic glue takes a long time to set, because it
Right.
basically melts the plastic together.
Yeah.
So the super glue I put on his back locked, but
Mhm.
then I was able to reposition the hand over
Mm.
the beaker so that the drop was right over it.
Oh, nice. That's
But
legit.
that took a lot of my hobby know-how. So I
I would
don't know how the
imagine.
hell everybody else is doing it,
Mm-mm.
because it's not like you know how certain things, I'm sure you might see this in action figures. You know how certain things are like they're indexed. So like if there's a gun, for example, or you know what the best example of indexing is you know how like certain action figures have the holes in their feet?
Yes.
And you know how like their stands are like a certain shape?
Mm-hmm.
The peg that comes out like an octagon or
Right.
something like that, and it fits in the shoe only kind of one way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's indexing, right?
Okay.
Like in modeling, indexing, unlike the little octagon where you can actually put it one of 8 ways,
Right.
with model indexing, usually the holes are made where like it'll only go in one way.
Right. Like
Like
it
that's
has
the
like
way.
it might be a circle. It looks like a cube, like with a little
Yeah.
jut coming out. So yeah.
Or imagine like a triangle,
Okay.
right? But instead of being like this, where you could technically rotate it either way, it's a
Right.
triangle with this front end open
Yeah.
and a line, which
Yeah.
means the piece will only go in that one way.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they keep everything together,
Yeah.
because new models now are all digitally sculpted, so they're meant to look away.
Right.
But if you put the arm on at a funny angle, all the lines don't work.
Right.
Well, a lot of their stuff is indexed, which is cool, right? Except that arm that goes over his back with the
Mhm.
dropper thing is not indexed in his
You would
back, so it can
right.
go anywhere. And then the grabber hand is not indexed; it can go anywhere. And I'm
Huh.
like, well, that doesn't. Anyway,
Yeah. No.
I bet you 99 out of 100 of those arms don't line up with the
Mhm.
beaker,
No. No. They don't.
but mine does. God damn it.
Exactly. Yeah. And people
Anyway,
never
so I'm getting
notice.
back to painting. I'm painting all the Marvel boys.
That's awesome.
I got Cap, Captain Marvel, binary form. That's a
Ooh,
separate model.
it is.
Crossbones, Baron Zemo, Red Skull, Ultron bots. That's a different
Oh,
model. There's
it
little Ultron
is.
bots.
Mm-hmm.
Black Widow, Iron Man, Doc Ock. Is that all of
Oh,
them?
that's interesting. Oh, so did you buy them individually, or like is it like a?
No, they're in the starter set for the
They're in
game.
the starter set. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That
it's a whole
Doc
game.
Ock is in there.
Doc Ock is in there. Well, the whole thing is like with that game. I'm not going to go too long, but anyway, the whole thing with that game is that you can the villains and heroes can fight together,
Oh,
because
that's neat.
it's Crisis Protocol. It's like the whole thing. It's like
So it's like
you
yeah,
know, like
a
they're
larger than
teaming
life
up.
thing has happened that they
Yeah,
can.
they're teaming up to fight like certain situations that are like crises or whatever.
Okay.
So every game you play, every scenario you play is like some like end of the world shit. So
Mm,
they're all teaming up, you know what I
right.
mean, to fight. So yeah, it's been cool. I have some fun ideas on how to paint them. You know what I mean? It's gonna be very interesting.
That's legit.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I got that. So that's actually, we talk about the thing that's brought me a little bit of my joy back,
Mm-hmm.
is putting models together,
Mm,
kind of disconnecting from everything, because
yeah.
everything sucks.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
like the Rays, like it sounds
Oh
like they
yeah.
just
I heard
lost the
about that.
funding to their stadium, and
Jeez.
it sounds like we're back at the drawing board, and people are comparing us to Oakland and
Ooh.
saying we're going to lose the team, and
Ooh.
it's wild. They now the board just voted to not repair the trop roof, which means that puts them in breach of contract with the Rays, so the Rays may sue Pinellas County
Oh
for that.
shit.
And it's really fucking bad.
Yeah. That sounds
Like,
terrible, man.
the Rays are playing next season at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa,
Yeah.
a minor league ballpark right next to
Ooh.
Raymond James. They've tried to come to Hillsborough before, and the county's not willing to pay anywhere near what Pinellas was, but
Right.
Pinellas just nuked this deal on the new
I mean,
stadium too. So
yeah. That sounds rough.
then they traded Jose Siri,
Oh.
like one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
Like I can
Insult
tell
to
you he's
injury.
one of my favorite players because Brad made me this last season,
Yeah.
and this is a little crocheted Ray
Oh, that's cute.
with 22, Jose series number, because
Okay.
that's how much I'm a fan of him.
Yeah.
I have a jersey of his.
Yeah.
I have all this stuff, and they just traded him.
Man.
He's one of Preston's favorite players too.
Yeah.
Then we
That
found out
sucks.
Trisha, our on the field reporter, is not coming back this year. She's been lured away to do Apple TV because she was doing it on Friday night. So now she's doing that. So Trisha won't be with the broadcast anymore. I don't know, man. Anyways, everything's falling apart.
It's terrible. This is terrible.
Everything's falling apart. But anyway, you know what's not falling apart?
This ship.
These
This
old issues and this old turtle soup that will weather any storm.
Eventually. Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. Do you want to know something? I'm going to reveal something that's been going through my head lately about this baseball shit.
Let's take a peek.
I'm not joking.
Mm-hmm.
If we lose the Rays,
Yeah.
I might move.
Oh, dang. Okay. Are you going to go wherever they go?
No, not wherever they go. I'm tired of losing shit.
That's fair.
I'm tired of losing.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the city I live in is one of only 2 out of 30 cities that can't keep a major league goddamn baseball team.
Yeah.
And I'm very tempted to move somewhere where they have one and the weather's better.
Yeah.
And I'm not in a red state and they have baseball and they'll always have baseball. I'm kind of like, I don't know. Everything keeps adding up. I'm like, why am I losing all the time?
Yeah. No, that's a fair assessment. I think a lot of people have been having those feelings.
I love everybody I know here, but at the same time, I'm like, can we all just move somewhere else?
That's been a topic of discussion in this household.
I'm not surprised. I've thought about it. I'm like, what if I moved to Tennessee? Well, Tennessee's a red state, but what if I moved to North Carolina and I brought everybody with me?
Yeah.
And we all just did it over there.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome. And we just live there. And we'd have the Durham Bulls and we just watch minor league baseball forever. And we live in a commune or something.
Sure. That works. Tiny homes. We can get the containers. Yeah. No. It's a great idea.
Preston's allergic to cats, but he, life pisses on his face. So,
true.
What's one more cat?
Exactly. What's one more piss? Exactly.
Exactly. But anyway, yeah. Well, despite my bummer talk, my Kawa bummer talk, these issues are always going to be here, and so is the podcast.
Indeed.
So, how do you want to do this, buddy? We have. You want to just go back and forth all the way through all this content?
Yeah, let's do it that way. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna cover the first one.
Okay. That sounds good. Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
All right, everybody. Out of nowhere, Bago Tricks. Tales of the TMNT. I miss Tales of the TMNT.
I do too.
This is called The Survival Game. It came out in 1987. It is by Brown and Levine and Jim Lawson.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Lawson.
This is the team. You know what I mean? If it can't be Kevin and Peter, this is the team.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right,
oh yeah.
Ryan Brown, Jim Lawson, Steve Levine. And we're set.
Yeah.
So we open up. And once again, these stories are kind of short. All the stories we do today are kind of short, but I don't know, they're all kind of cool. Like in their own way.
Yeah,
It's
definitely
pretty neat. So we open up, love this landing page.
Oh yeah.
Love the survival game in the bottom right corner, kind of almost like it's graffiti. Coming back to that black duo shade. I'm all over it. And yeah, we see Raph kind of walking and he's like, it became hard to remember how I got here. Got to stop and think, And what it kind of does is it's Raph talking about how all of a sudden the turtles were abducted and taken to another place.
Right.
And he's got this narrative. I can only assume the composition of this atmosphere is causing a kind of psychosis, and you're kind of like, what's going on? And he talks about running from his brothers.
Yeah.
This art is just so cool.
They almost do Kevin and Peter better than Kevin and Peter do. Which is very weird.
Yeah, it's true. Like this bottom right of Raph running away. I love all that.
Oh, it's
Like
so
the size, the definition, the running action,
mm-hmm.
the long bandana tails. It's
Oh,
just like
fantastic.
talk about Tales of the TMNT. I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying? So so effectively, yeah. So we see him come across like, an armory. It's like a gun store. And he's like,
Yeah.
okay. And he like, once again, really cool panel layouts. He like takes his bandana off. And it's kind of cool because it lets you know which one's him later in the comic, which was
Yeah.
kind of a cool design.
Oh yeah, and I
Um,
always love that they do the arrows showing you which panel to read, so you know. Because I didn't see this when I first read through this. I was like, "What is he
oh
doing?"
yeah.
And I had to take a second and look back, and it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah, so he takes off his bandana, wraps it around his knuckles, breaks a window, grabs some kind of laser gun,
yeah,
and he's like, "I'm out." And you see him running away again. Um, so he comes up on Leo, and he's like, "He wants me dead," and he shoots him.
yeah." He's dead ass,
Right?
Just bang,
Leo like drops, like bang bang, 2 scoops
draw
to
2
the
cards.
chest, like he's done. Um, So then he's skulking around, gets up on a fire escape, and he sees Michelangelo. And he's like, be patient, And he drops down, shoots your boy. I mean, he's just on a murder spree.
Yeah,
I love this panel at the bottom where he's standing on the rooftop with the moon in the background. He's like, my heart feels as though it'll burst through my chest plate.
right.
You're like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
So he's skulking around doing turtle stuff. And you see a shot like come on the top of a roof where like you see what looks like his head with his bandana kind of flowing away.
Yeah,
And you see Donnie's like stalking it. And then your boy comes up behind Donnie, like looking for me, and you see
so
that
good.
the bandana's wrapped around one of those roof exhaust things.
Yeah,
And it's like,
oh,
oh damn. And yeah, and Leo gets and Don gets destroyed. This is where you see that Don has a laser gun too.
right.
This is like the first guy you've seen with a laser gun.
No,
So
you've seen the other
did they
ones.
all have them?
Yeah, you see
I
them
just
all.
noticed it here.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
they're very tiny, but you do see them.
So he takes down Donnie, and I love this shot in the middle of this page where Raph's just like looking at the ground, like it's all done, like I've knocked them all out, And you see the trolls come up like, "Hey man, Raph, good game, bro. Like these laser guns are a blast." and then Raph's just like, I guess I just got into it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what? But yeah, he was. Oh, by the way, if you keep going, Cool Uncle's neat because True Stories by April O'Neil ad.
Oh,
for
yeah.
TMNT number 11.
Yeah.
Bro, the golden issue, bro.
Oh yeah.
That is so cool. Like, I don't know. I just going back, I'm like, that almost geeked me out more than the story did. I was like, oh yeah, that's so good.
Oh yeah.
She's there with the new do, it's like
new
loving it. But yeah, that's the end of this one. That's survival. That's the survival game.
And
they're
think
just
about
playing laser tag.
This came out right when the animated series started. So like, like that's some reading these issues and then the Turtle Soup issue. It just kind of hit differently because I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit, but in the Turtle Soup issue, they talk about the turtles eating pizza and stuff. But that came out in 93, I think, or 91. Yeah. And the pizza stuff's nowhere in these first two, but then like in the Mirage stuff, it wasn't really in there. And then just thinking about like how the world was before the Ninja Turtles and how it's been since, like it's never been the same since any of this. And I love that. But yeah, the laser guns, like the laser tag or whatever, like that's excellent. And we get a pinup page too, which is really neat. I can't make out the artist, but it looks pretty cool. I kind of like that style.
Yeah, I like it too. Yeah.
All right, so moving on. Oh, and again, I think these were in like backups or they were just stuffed somewhere. This was before
it's just
Tales.
Weird because you've never seen them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's before Tales comes out because I believe this ad for Tales right here says it's on sale mid-May, and I don't remember reading these. And when I went, like I said, when I went through the TMNT entity, I was like, I think we haven't read these. So
you're right.
Yeah. So moving on. Untitled Nobody Story, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, story and pencils by Lawson, inks and letters Levine, and this is 1989. So like 2 years after the story we just read. Yeah.
So
So
it's still got that feeling, that Lawson. Oh, it's good.
Oh, it's great. So you got this old man walking down an alley, if you will.
Yep.
And yeah, sure enough, bad stuff's happening. He's looking for a kitty, like he's trying to chase a cat, I guess. And then there's these
you
two
heard
ruffians.
a cat meowing, and he's like, "Oh, who's that?"
Yeah, which like I mean, for a person who kind of partway owns a cat cafe,
Yeah,
there's better places to get cats. People, come on, don't go to down alleys. We're on the corner. So anyway, so
the goddamn alley's my biggest competitor.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So these two ruffians are like in there, and he's like, "Oh no, just us dogs are here, just us dogs."
Oh my god!
And so they got bats and all kinds of stuff. So they beat the crap out of this dude, and yeah, he pulls a gun and shoots one of the dudes. At this point, the turtles are kind of just like hanging out, just like looking around, doing stuff, and then they start to see. I get a little confused as to what's going on here, but I think nobody is here. Nobody's showing up.
Nobody
to this,
like rolled up on this like gang meeting or something.
That's what it was. It was the gang meeting. That I forgot about the gang meeting.
Totally unrelated to that. He's just like rolling up, and they're like,
Right, and so what they realize is that they're actually, I think they're actually talking about getting retribution for their friend who died. And the turtles are like, "Oh shit!" Like nobody shows up. And if you don't remember, nobody is just like a character that wears all black and has a cape. I think he's an ex-cop. I think.
Yeah, he's like an ex-cop out of Deerfield.
Yeah.
And has a run-in with Casey at one point in Shades of Grey.
Oh yeah.
Becomes a Mirage character that isn't really used a lot, but
No.
does appear in TMNT Volume 2.
Yes.
As well. He's around.
He's around. He shows up quite a bit, and then he shows up in IDW a little bit as a different character, but the same name and the same idea. And yeah, so this is pretty neat. He's he comes in and he starts taking names and whatever.
Yeah.
And chewing bubble gum. And then yeah, the turtles meet back up with him and they're like, we were watching you. You were lucky, like, you know, that could have gone really bad. But he's like, no, they could have killed me if they'd really wanted to, but you know, hey, maybe you guys could help. So they kind of come up with a plan. He tells them the whole thing about what happened, about the shooting and everything, and how they're wanting retribution. He's like, I need y'all's help. We don't want anything to happen to this guy because he's a friend of mine. So yeah, we cut to.
He just mentioned, by the way, that the old man shot him with a 22.
Oh, okay.
And the kid's probably gonna be okay, but the gang wants to come and do one up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. So we cut to Jeopardy, which is on the television, and someone's saying, "Come on, Eugenia, Jeopardy's starting." And so and you're in this apartment and everything. All of a sudden, the door gets kabammed open,
Kabam.
and these cool gangsters like punks come in, and they're like, "Payback time, Gramps. Yeah, for what you did to Jackie, we're going to do to you better." And all of a sudden, they get 2 toes and a heel to the face with one of the turtles just saying, kick. "Oh, yeah." And, yeah, and then you got another turtle dressed as the lady. So, like, they basically just put on the couple's clothes. It's great.
Something about that bottom line of panels where, like, one of them is in that granny tutu just, like, kicking ass.
Oh, yeah.
Or the moo-moo, sorry. Like, in that moo-moo just, like destroying is, like, so funny to me.
Oh, yeah. And it's good because, like, one of these punks has a Hard Rock Cafe shirt on, and it's like...
He does.
That's just lame. Nobody wears
get out
those.
of it. Like, I mean, wannabe ass Sid Vicious. Like, you deserve to get your ass kicked.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah, so fighting ensues. Some guns come out, and then the turtles make, you know, easy work of all those people. And one of the dudes jumps out a window and down the fire escape and tries to take off, but then your boy Nobody shows up and gets him. And yeah, then Nobody recounts, man, the looks on those kids' faces were priceless. I think we scared them pretty bad. And yeah, they're and then he said they're probably convinced that they're aliens. And so yeah, Raphael asks, what's going to happen to the old man now? And nobody replies that nobody, or probably due to the circumstances, he'll get off with probation. I guess it's over then, huh? Yeah. And then the last page is your boy at the gun shop asking for a 44 Magnum. And yeah.
I'm like, Gramps, just go with a 9.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to like get like that. Like, you gotta break your wrist like that, Gramps. You can't control a 44 Magnum. Like, just go with a 9. The 22, I think we learned stopping power, probably not so great,
right.
You know. But I mean, I'll tell you what my grandpa said about 22s.
Ooh,
he said if 22s ain't no big deal, come up and get shot by one.
Oh, dang.
Because everyone talks shit about 22. It's like you want to take a 22?
Right. Yeah. Take 22
everyone,
to the chest.
And everybody who just talks shit about 22 be like, nah, son. Be like, okay, well then, not that big of a deal now, is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, not that bad of a caliber. But yeah, apparently, yeah.
So the idea is that that he's getting a bigger gun. Like that's what he's trying to do.
Oh,
like, that's the joke
absolutely.
Here. Okay.
Yeah, that's the joke. He wants a bigger, badder gun.
And this arms dealer, I don't know. He's kind of got it going on.
He's like a Tom Selleck kind of like thing going on. He's got the legs of Kevin Nash.
He does. Oh my god, he
does
diesel legs.
Them diesel legs. Does he not? I mean, like that's totally literally Diesel's legs. Like,
no, his dick is like right up at the counter. That counter's 3 feet.
Yeah, that guy is not shaped right.
No,
that guy ain't shaped right.
He's not.
Like he kind of reminds me of me. Like my torso is actually my torso is kind of too short for my legs.
Yeah. You know, everyone that meets you says that. They tell me they whisper to me. They're like, his torso
I didn't notice that I was that messed up until one day I was standing next to Shane.
Yeah.
And I was maybe I was with you. I was with some like mutual friends, and I said, okay. Yo, Shane, man, you messed up because your torso is like way too big for your legs. Like it's too long for your legs. Like you got these little legs. And Shane goes, no, that's normal. He's like, your legs are too long for your like short ass torso. And I go, nuh-uh. And I looked at everybody around and they're all looking at themselves going, right. Yeah, no, you're the weird one. And I'm like, oh.
That's so good.
So like, that's what, like, if you guys wanted to know, that's what I look like. Jake can tell you. Yeah. I have these big legs and I have this like short torso, and then I look like Tom Selleck.
I think Jake is the most recent person to see you here, in the flesh.
Yeah, Jake. Yeah, Jake saw me.
Yeah, you're real. He found out.
Well, John Clemens in the chat says 44 can be controllable, but you need to know what you're doing. Listen, John, you know as well as me that Gramps got himself a 44 Magnum revolver that he cannot control. He's gonna cup and saucer that thing, yeah. And at least he hit the guy with a 22. When that 44 mag comes out, he's gonna shoot over his head.
Is this
cup and saucer that bad boy?
Okay,
100%. That is the old way that they taught cops to shoot.
Yeah,
they're like 38 revolvers and shit, and you can literally see it.
That's hilarious.
Like you can literally see that cup and saucer, which actually doesn't really help you at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, John says only 2 shooters with a 44. Idiots who watch too many movies and pro shooters. Yeah, I agree. I agree. 44 and 40 have too much muzzle snap for me. They pop the muzzle comes up too high. I'm like 9mm, old man. Anyway, 18 plus 1. Continue.
So, all right. So moving on to the actual issue, Turtle Soup.
Oh, that's right, Turtle Soup. Let me get rid of this here. Okay, so this cover.
So I'm gonna talk about the cover. Ryan's gonna read the forward and then probably go into the next story because he has the next story. But this cover, I loved these Turtle Soup covers. They're
really neat.
They are, and
that one is like very airbrushed looking. That's a very interesting. It looks almost like a video game cover in a way.
It kind of does. It kind of
does. Doesn't it? Like it just feels like that's kind of like how video game covers looked in the 90s.
Yeah,
like early 90s.
Oh yeah, and yeah, it's got some weird marbling background. You've got the Turtle Soup masthead kind of or title or whatever you call it, font, I forget. And then you got the Mirage logo on the side, which is awesome. But yeah, it's the 4 turtles and they're all red bandanaed, and there's a there's a lady that's
Like a lady of
that's
the night kind of
very
situation going
buxom,
on, or
and then you've
yeah.
got this weird dude that has got some like weird tech on his arm, and then he looks like he's got a couple front tails just hanging down. But
I like the Roman belt
oh
as
yeah, that's what it is.
loincloth situation he's got going on. Like,
Yeah,
a spoiler alert, this guy's from the future in a different timeline, and I'm kind of like, so in the future, did they just determine that the Romans got the crotch thing right?
like that's the one
Like
thing they
that
got
far
right.
ahead? You know, it's almost like that whole like design ethos now, where like now it's like I think it's called like bio design or bioengineering, not bioengineering, but like bio architecture, where
Okay.
basically like they've gone back to like look at nature
Mm-hmm.
in designing things and trying to take principles from nature. So like
Oh.
the way that birds' wings are, the way the bone structure is for
Mm-hmm.
like small planes, because they're like,
Mm.
well, nature did it right. Or
Right.
just I read this whole article. It's like one of those long reads about how like, yeah, they're starting to realize, or even they're even looking at like medieval inventions now
Yeah.
and being like, were those the most efficient for like what they did? And so they're incorporating all that into like new designs and engineering.
Mm.
It almost feels like that happened then. They were like, we messed with skinny jeans, we messed with like cargo pants, we messed with like jumpers for dudes, we messed with like onesies for girls, and we
Yeah.
finally found out. We also had a period where no one wore clothes. Then
Oh
we
yeah.
figured out that the Roman codpiece belt boy was the best thing we could do
Yeah.
for covering your crotch, and you look like a robot.
You do, and
You
you
look
look
like you got a
like
lot packing under there anyway.
that's true. You keep them guessing. They don't know your downstairs mix up.
Maybe in the future we've gotten past the downstairs mix-up. Everyone wears the Roman legion thong of belts, and then no one knows.
Thong of belts. That's great. But do you have to look like Eddie Munster though? That's the one thing. Like
Yeah, that's.
I.
John says biomimicry. Thank you, John. That's exactly
Oh,
what that's
okay.
called. Yep.
I do like the high vampire collar, like the Morbius kind of 70s collar. I do kind of love that on the robot. Gotta say, if band shirts started coming with those kind of colors, I'd be wearing them all the time.
No, I'm not. Yeah, it's almost a little of an Elvis thing going on.
Ooh, yeah, I can see that.
I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on. Biomimicry. Thanks, John. John got me again. If I didn't know the name for that, kind of beats me up. And I know John.
Chalk it up.
I know John's like, he can't remember the name of it.
He's gonna sleep good tonight.
If I move to Toronto, I can't move to Toronto, right? Because I gotta still be an American.
Yeah.
I can't go to America's Hat. Like I can't do that, right?
No.
Okay, good.
Glad we got that covered.
Okay. Sometimes it needs to draw me back from the edge. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like,
I'm with you. I'm with you. That's what I'm
I
here
can't
for.
go up there be some hoser. You know what I mean?
So, again, this is book number 1, November 1991. 250. No, that's not right.
250 pennies.
Pennies. Yeah. Okay. Good.
US.
My math was right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that's how we used to do.
USA,
We used to talk about it in pennies.
325 in America's Hat, and
yeah, that's another reason I can't move there.
That's true.
I'm not paying that much. All right, here we go. So it comes. This Turtle Soup issue comes with a fair bit of celebration in the beginning. It says Turtle Soup Boy.
That's us.
Which I feel like that's how we should open every podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This was one project that literally was years in the making. Its first incarnation was a 64-page black and white collection of TMNT stories and drawings that we published back in 1988. It was intended to give different artists and writers the opportunity to try their hands at our mutants. The book turned out to be a fun project with a wide variety of styles and stories. So much so that the powers that be here at Mirage, Kev and Pete, decided that we should do more Turtle Soup books, and this time in full color. Well, this sounded simple enough at the time, but the further we got into it, the more complicated it became. Kevin got things rolling by asking a whole bunch of talented folks to contribute turtle stories. As you might imagine, trying to orchestrate so many stories and so many creative people, writers, artists, colorists, etc., each with his or her own scheduling restrictions, sometimes seemed like an impossible task. But ta-da! Somehow or other, it all worked out, and we think it looks darn good. Hope you agree. Michael Dooney, deep within the Empire, Northampton, Mass. P.S. Special thanks to everyone involved in this project for your patience and support.
There you go.
And then we have our little table of contents. So we've got 6 little stories we're going to do today.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is by Mark Martin, who is, I recall Mark Martin being like pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like,
he's
I
worked
know he
on
worked
some stuff.
Yeah. And Mark Martin took his hand during the guest era of Mirage as well. This is a gray-green sponge suit sushi turtle solo adventure. Toyota in the Naked City. Right? This story is weird, but
it is very weird.
Now I want to try as we go at the end to give our rankings of all 6 of these from best to worst.
Okay.
So try to keep in mind like where this one ranks. Okay. And what we see is, once again, the art style is very different from the Turtles, but we're used to this. If you're a Mirage guest era veteran, you're used to seeing your Turtles not look like your Turtles and just understanding. And that's what we have here. So we see a turtle like singing in the shower, and there is so much dialogue in this. It's part of the humor.
Right.
But I'm not going to be reading everything word for word because there's so much in this. But he gets out of the shower, hears a knock on the door. He's like, oh my God. So he gets out of the shower, hits his head on the lamp, stubs his toe, falls down, hits his head on the lamp, starts cursing, and then opens the door and says, what do you want, to a person that I can only describe as a sewer pipe with a body and a suitcase and a briefcase.
Yeah.
It kind of makes no sense. And like the way that like this turtle's getting out of the shower, walking out, like where does he live? It's really weird.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
It's really weird. But this guy has like a kind of a face cut out of the front part of the pipe that looks like almost like a jack-o'-lantern face.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's Toyota, like if that's the character or what.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
But he sounds a lot, if you've ever played Fallout, he sounds a lot like the guy that comes and tries to get you to get the Vault membership at the beginning of Fallout 4, where he's like giving you the big sell on why you should have a Vault membership and shit like that. He's basically doing that, but it's all about, he's running a glasses cleaning business called Sight for 4 Eyes Glasses Cleaning Service.
That's excellent.
And he runs this whole sales bit about how they're going to come through and clean your glasses for you every once in a while to keep your glasses clean. And they're like, that, and literally this turtle's like, that is the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
Right.
And he's like, well, I tell you what, let me just try it. Let me just show you that we can clean glasses. And I wasn't aware any turtle wore glasses, but this turtle's like, free cleaning right now? I can't even find my glasses. I'm as blind as a bat without them. And he's like, oh, let me interest you in our glasses finding service. And he pulls out a $1 set of X-ray specs.
I love the $1 sign. Like, that's fantastic.
$1. And he's like, see how fast that was? And he's like, oh my God, you're really good, actually. He's like, no problem. And so he puts them on. He's like, oh, everything looks crazy. And he starts chasing after the guy because he's like, oh, you messed my glasses up. Like, he thinks he found his real glasses and then cleaned them weird.
Right.
And now they look weird.
Yeah.
So he pops out of the sewer and he's like, hey, lady. And this bottom panel, man. So the whole gimmick, guys, is that the X-ray specs they really work.
Yeah,
so
that's legit.
He looks at this old lady and she's like, I beg your pardon. And he goes, holy cow, lady, you're butt naked. And then he tries to cover her because he has a towel on. Okay. Right. This is the big thing. He got out of the shower, he has a towel around his waist. He tries to cover her with the towel and says, and it ain't a pretty sight. Put my towel around you before you start a riot or something. Right. So he starts wrapping this towel around her. She's like, call help police. Police shows up. She's like, this man exposed himself. And then he's like, run, lady, here comes a naked man. And he thinks the cop's naked.
Yeah.
So he gets taken to the police station and he's trying to you hear him like almost like pleading his case. Like you see this from like outside. He's like, which I love these like mimeographed,
Oh.
like real photos of a
Oh,
city
I absolutely
in the
love this.
comic. I love that so much. There's like,
Muppet.
it goes black and white as like an establishing shot, guys. Like
Yeah.
if you're not watching the show on YouTube, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it's like mimeographed, like black and white photos.
Yeah.
And it's zooming in and written over it, which I love mixed media in comics.
I
Like I love
absolutely
it.
love mixed media. The Muppets or Muppet Babies used to do this all the time. and
Yes,
I
yes.
just
They used to use
sucker
like
for
film
this.
footage and stuff, and you were like,
Mhm.
what? Like,
Mhm.
so he's in this like what looks like a courthouse or a police station. You hear him pleading his case, and he just it's a run-on sentence about what happened. That
Right.
sounds unbelievable. And you see it cuts to a bigger shot, and you see him running his whole spiel again to a coat rack with a hat on it.
Yeah.
And the cops at this desk are like, who is this asshole? He's been talking to that coat rack for 30 minutes. And the guy's like, I don't know, some loser O'Leary dragged in. So eventually the detective's like, we gotta get him out of here, man. Like whatever. So they actually kick him out. They're like, you're free to go. Like just go. So he basically is like, oh yeah. And he walks out, he's like, say I could really go for a shower. And you see him back in the shower.
Yeah. After he
Showering
passes
again.
a triple X video store, which was weird. But
he does, and it's actually kind of funny because the guy that's like coming out is like, oh
yeah. It's like
I'm like, man, nobody does.
Yeah.
So he gets in the shower, and I like that instead of saying the end, it just says all's well.
All's well. No, that's great.
Which I don't know why, but yeah, it was a funny issue. It's one of those things where its humor is definitely in the amount of text.
Yeah.
Because like the big like what you're here for is this huge page 3 where it's got a 3x3 and then a big bottom panel. Everything's crammed together, and it's all this guy's sales pitch on the glasses cleaning service.
Right.
And it's really funny.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, cool issue. So keep that in your mind where you want to rank that one. All right.
Okay.
And that was Toyota. In the Naked
Toyota.
City.
All right. So next is Turtles Attack by Michael Dooney and Steve Levine. We've known these two people very well. Seen them a lot.
And a special guest appearance by Mary Keller, letterer extraordinaire, who lettered like every issue of Adventures ever in the Golden Era and was always there with them letters.
Right. And this is part 1.
This is basically an Adventures team between Dooney, who worked on it, Keller, and Levine. It's pretty great.
So this takes place in Florence, Massachusetts, and yeah, they're just going by a pizza place, and one of the turtles, I forget which one it is. Oh, Michelangelo, says that he wants pizza, which I think this is what got me thinking about it, or reminded me about the whole pizza thing. So the turtles are like, no, let's get some real food. And then elsewhere in the future, a slightly different dimension, you see our guy from the cover. He's working on something, and like he's trying to get some stuff done. A lady shows up at the door, and this reminded me of the Savage Dragon crossover where Michelangelo and Sarah were trying to
oh my god, yes. So that's a blast from the past, but yeah, absolutely.
Something about this panel, the top right panel, just the idea of like the door frame. I don't know. Something about that.
No, no, you're right. You're right. That's a thing.
So this lady, turns out her name is Betty Klein, and that he must be Henry. The random dating council told me to report here at 8:15 for a blind date. Sorry if I'm late, but I only got the transmission an hour ago. So and he's like, nobody told me. So, classic. Yeah, so she's wandering around and just being like, "Oh, this is just a bunch of neat science stuff," and he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm trying to be a temporal dimensional analyst," and he's training to be, I should say, and so basically time travel, and she's like, "Aren't you afraid?" But he's like, "Nah, they've got all the kinks ironed out, so it's nowhere near as dangerous as it used to be." The great part is that once I get my clearance and finish the training, I'll be able to use this gauntlet to not only travel to any time period I choose, but bring things back from the past to the future here with me. So she pushes a bunch of buttons on the old gizmo, and off they go. And they just happen to appear suddenly back in Florence in front of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And they are at some point I think the Turtles would just be like, oh, okay. Like,
Like,
this is
all
nothing
right,
new.
here we
This
go
is nothing
again.
new. All right, yep, another
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But she Betty freaks out and she's like calling them monsters and
Can I say I love, by the way, really fast? I love the pinup style of like how her skirt is completely transparent. You
oh
can
yeah,
always see like the top of her legs and like
right.
her thighs and stuff. For
Yeah.
some reason, I just love like how like wildly pinup art that is.
Yeah,
I
that
don't know.
attention to detail and just it's subtle,
Yeah. Well, it's in every panel. Like
Yeah.
like she's never once shown with like an opaque skirt.
right.
It's always like even when it's colored in, it's like back on page 3 of this or page 9 of the book. It's transparent. You can see it the whole time.
Right.
I
So
don't know.
yeah, no, I love that. That's just great artwork.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Turtles are like, "What monsters? Us?" And they're like,
What?
"Oh no, blah blah blah." Whole misunderstanding. So so your boy pushes some buttons on the thing, and then all of a sudden, some dinosaurs show up,
Yeah.
and so now the Turtles have to fight dinosaurs yet again, and so they're running around doing their thing, and I wonder how many times the Turtles have fought dinosaurs because
It's
like
been so
it's
many
been a lot.
times. Can I say that my favorite thing about this bottom panel on 12, actually the last panel of the comic, is how the Brontosaurus is just eating a tarp above a store, not hurting anyone.
Yeah, no, just
This is my
I'm here.
favorite shit.
It's
Like
so
the
good.
T-Rex, like so in the middle panel, T-Rex is like bowing up.
Oh yeah,
Like you see his arms, he's like, "Come on, bitch!" Like he's like doing the old like fighter boy, but with like his short little arms.
exactly.
Dude, I love in the last panel. It was like what's like a compiosaur is like just like walking.
Oh yeah,
The T-Rex is like, I mean business, and then the Brontosaurus is like,
just I'm gonna eat.
like he's not a danger. He's
No,
like,
not at all, not at all.
I love that.
And it says to be continued. So yeah, there's that story.
And it never is. So, well, maybe in Turtle Soup number 2.
That's what I was about to say. We'll have to see.
Okay, so all right, so remember that one. That was the history episode.
Mm-hmm.
Attack. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. This one's kind of cool.
I think so.
It's interesting. It's called and first of all, it's by J.D. Bonavere, I think is how you pronounce his name. His name was just Jeff Bonavere and Jim Woodring. It's interesting. So they kind of are like indie comic dudes. So Jim Woodring is a cartoonist. He created a character named Frank, and then did a bunch of work for Dark Horse. But this comic is different, and I like it. But I love number 1 the masthead panel. Something about that looks like retro, even for its time.
Yeah.
Almost looks like it's almost like an old movie card, like that'd be like before a thing. It's just cool. Anyway, it's called Leonardo, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and Master Splinter in The Purpose of Fear. It's hard to explain without you seeing it, but there's these 3 panels, and I really love the way that he draws Donatello in different lights.
Is it Leonardo?
It's Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. I saw the staff, but that's actually the burnt Cheeto.
Yeah, that's the burnt
Cheeto.
Cheeto.
Yeah, it is Leo. It's just hard because Donnie and Splinter have that whole thing in the forest. Remember that? In between volume 1 and volume 2 where they live in the forest. I just whenever I see Splinter and a turtle in the forest, I think it's Donnie, not Leo. Anyway,
and the burnt Cheeto was a little bit longer here too. Like it's a little bit like
Yeah. It says, close to midnight in the rolling hills of Northampton, we find. And you see that, Leo says, like, Master Splinter, I have a question. Can you tell me, Master, what is fear? Right? And it's just cool because the rest of this comic is just an exploration on that concept. Like, which is why I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Because let me see. I'll try to run through it really fast. So Splinter's like, oh yeah, the great immobilizer of men and turtles. Leo, have you felt fear? And he's like, I have fear for my brothers. I mean, should one of them get hurt in battle, really hurt, I don't know what I would do. And Splinter's like, you would do whatever needed to be done because you love your brothers. These are good and healthy feelings, and your question is one that all ninjas must face one day. Let us speak as ninja. And that panel is sick.
Mm-hmm.
Like it cuts to like Splinter's like eyes, and it's super narrow, and like they're doing a lot with the lettering here, which I really liked, where lettering's very bold and like tilted. It just looks neat, and it draws a lot of interest to a page that is frankly almost Brian Michael Bendis full of writing. And there's not a lot of action going on.
No.
So I think they did a really good job with the lettering here and then the layout.
Yeah.
And I don't want to read all of it, but it's one of those things where like basically I'm trying to find the best parts. So Splinter says, we create the feeling of fear when faced with the unknown or when taking a risk. But the effects of this kind of negative thinking are all the same. We become paralyzed, unable to think, unable to do. And you see as he's talking about this, like Leo's almost getting scared of fear.
Right.
Like as like Splinter, and this is why I really liked it. As he keeps going, you see him going like, oh my God. And he says, unable to do the things that give us joy. The purpose of fear is to stop our progress and keep us frozen in stagnation. Fear is the enemy of all of us and is to be avoided. Now listen close. Willingness to confront fear is called courage. You will find it very difficult to overcome your fears without it. Even though you will, I like this point. Even though you will find you need not go out and search for this special courage because you already have it in you. And he says, make a choice. Choose your thoughts, create your and this is really weird. Do you think it's supposed to be create your attitude? Because the lettering separates them. Do you see this?
I do.
It does it does it twice.
Yeah. Where was the second
It
time
deletes
it did it?
the T from the first T in attitude. It's weird.
Oh, yeah. No, I see it again. Yeah. I think it's just a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, because if it did it on the third time, like I would say that, though that was definitely it. But just the 2 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so he basically closes with, choose your thoughts, create your attitude. Action is the antidote to fear.
Yes.
And I'm like,
I love that.
And then it ends with Splinter saying, and what is an attitude? And Leo says, a collection of thoughts. And he's like, by Joe, I think you've got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that is cool as hell.
That is like, very cool.
It's just cool. I know it's a little bit of like fear is the mind killer. Like Ender's Game. I know, or not Ender's, but Dune. Like I know that like that's been covered, but how eloquent it's spoken about. And just being a conversation on the purpose of fear.
Yeah.
The fact this story is called The Purpose of Fear is funny because the comic starts out as a question of fear, like what is fear?
Right.
But it actually ends with the purpose of fear, which is to create action.
Right.
To fight against that fear.
And
I'm like,
yeah,
fuck.
I love that.
I didn't expect that.
No,
that was really good.
It's very insightful. But what I love about it is that it's got there's a sort of anime art style to it.
Yeah.
Or manga, I should say. And that's something that goes hand in hand with like that manga and anime, in my opinion, that like a lot of that people, write off as like it's just childish or it's not really whatever. But most of the insightful things that I've learned in life have come from a lot of animes and mangas and whatnot. Yeah. And so that rings true here too. That I don't know. I just dig that. Splinter's get up's a little weird, but other than that,
it is. Splinter's get up's a little strange. If there's the new dude, that's like the new outfit.
Exactly. Like he looks like he's got a dating profile that he's been taking pictures in that outfit. And
it looks like he just got back from doing his glamour shots.
Exactly. So
okay, let's get a little risque. Oh yeah, let's go. You're a tiger, you're an animal.
So all right, so moving on to The Ring by Bill Anderson and Rick McCullum, who've both worked on TMNT before. We have seen them. And then also Jim Woodring is doing the coloring, and
which he did on the previous story as well.
Yeah. Oh, and so Bill Anderson did the inks, and Rick McCullum did the story and pencils specifically. All right, so Donatello, The Ring. So we got Donatello, your boy, like in some weird kind of forest, but on the like precipice of some weird drop
or some shit.
Yeah. He says Splinter had told him of this spot, recommended it. In fact, Donatello could see why slipping and slinking about the quiet beauty of this place enticed him in a web of harmony. So he falls down, and he's like, "Oh, even chipped off a part of me. Ow!" And he pulls, I guess, a part of his shell.
Yeah.
And he's looking at, and you see this other word bubble that says, all of the Donatello's dialogue is in thought bubbles.
Yeah.
You see this other bubble that's yellow that is the voice of the woods or the trees, essentially.
Yeah, some narrator, some message, yeah.
Right. So Donnie's like holding up this piece of his shell, and he's like, look at the layers and how they grow, how I've grown, I guess. And then the narrator is like, we remember our lives as a ring. Our race is a ring, so is the past, so is the future. And so the shell also somehow glints in the sun. And Donnie's just like blown out by this. He's like, oh, this is so cool. Sections of the edge are so many. I guess I'm just so complex of a guy. And I think that like there were some mushrooms on the side of the tree on the first page of this, and I think he might have partook of some of that because
things look tripping. This is the first shot at the bottom of page 18 of the overall book where things start to look like deformed.
Yeah.
Like I think he's tripping.
I think he's tripping too. So
personally,
but he keeps thinking about how he didn't do damage to himself, and he's like, but he says that shells can be itchy though, and so the narrator goes, you represent both ends of the eternal circle, and I'm like, I don't need the narrator to tell me things like that. I don't need that.
No,
kind of responsibility. So then he's like laying on his back again, and he's like, oh, there's a little bug, a little caterpillar, I guess, going around, and he's like, hurry on, little bug. Once you'd have been dinner. Oh, because he would have eaten the bug when he was an actual turtle. Looking for you, I've evolved into appreciating finer foods like pizza. Lucky for me, too. And then, the narrator keeps talking about like once you've crawled on our bellies, the flora was our food. And then we tired of hugging the earth, so we rose and strode our world as its rulers. And you see Donnie just like taking up his bow staff and just like spinning it around, talking about how like Splinter was like, right, this is so like invigorating and all this stuff like that. And blah blah blah. But like, I don't know. And the art's pretty neat, but it's just the most surrealist part of this art is like Donnie's talking about like, if only I hadn't tripped over my own 2 feet, how embarrassing Splinter would have given me one of his dirty looks. So he starts spinning his bow staff, which is awesome. But then you get this image, and that's just a little trippy. I get what they're doing, but it's bizarre. A turtle with 4 arms. It
is. It keeps making you think it's something like really like crazy's about to happen.
Right.
Because the woods are looking like they're kind of like, oh, there's like some creature in there, and you're like, who's talking? Like this, because it keeps going on and on and on. And you're like, what like is going on?
Yeah. So the narrator continues to say, but we lost sight of where we were going, and our people fell, and so the ages passed, and we waited, and the ring circled on. And Donnie's talking about meditating and all that. And so then the narrator continues as Donnie's meditating. But you and your brothers came round as the ring spun anew. Our race is upright once more. You reach higher than the tallest of our kind, and you can go further than we even dared. And I'm glad I waited to see you. And he goes, huh? Who's there? And he turns around, and there's this giant ass turtle.
The biggest ass turtle ever.
The biggest ass turtle that comes out of the woods. And I made you think it was the trees, but no, it's a turtle. That was a bait and switch. Yep. The world has changed, but the patience of the reptile is legendary. I've been rewarded. I go now. And then he's gone. And
Yep.
it says that these woods became special to Donatello. They gave him quiet for his mind and a sense of permanence for his soul, a sense of history. He'd bring the rest of the gang here soon to feel their roots. And that's it.
Yeah. This issue it touches on stuff that Rick Vitch and and Stephen Murphy did in their own issues of Mirage,
yeah.
where shit was very much about the evolution of reptiles and cold-blooded creatures, and kind of like how the turtles represent a new stage in that.
Right. And it's neat, but like I don't know. I don't think I would ever go back to that woods with a giant turtle coming out after. I don't think I could do it like that.
Well,
Even if
I mean,
I am a giant turtle, but like still couldn't
well,
do it.
it's one of those. Remember, we talked about this before a bit, but this thought always reoccurs to me. It's the whole idea I heard one time about like why people don't freak out when they see ghosts.
Oh yeah.
Is because like part of them, like in the back of your mind, right? You know that the supernatural is as natural as you are, but you're scared of it until you actually see it. Then when you're encountering something like that, you're like, oh, this is normal.
Yeah.
And then once it passes, you can be scared, but in that moment, you're not. And I always found that the idea very like, I don't know, very like interesting. And like, even if I don't believe it, I think it's just an interesting concept.
Okay.
So maybe that's what it is. Like when you're in those woods, tripping / like open to the spirit of the reptiles, maybe when you're in it, you're like, oh wow. And then when you leave, you're kind of like, whoa, that was crazy. But
like
in the
processed
moment,
it. Yeah.
yeah, because he says holy cow when he sees the turtle, but he doesn't run.
Right.
He just like stands there. So like, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe he's like, yeah, y'all need to come see Turtle Bro and like trip out.
Try one of these mushrooms. Like, yeah.
Try it or not.
Exactly. Yeah. No. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
So
that was all right. Yeah. Oh, here we go. This is a weird one. Very interesting. This one's called "My Name Is Lucindra." This is written and drawn by Rick Arthur. And we don't know like much about him. It sounds like he just did this and was like, I'm your buddy and I'm gonna do this story. And yeah, I love it. So okay, so this comic is cool. I don't know if it was executed 100% super well. I'm gonna get to that in a minute, but the idea is kind of cool. So I do love the idea that the name of the title is in the first line of the comic.
Right.
Like,
oh yeah.
So it says on the phone, I told the guy that the name is Lucindra, right? And that is your title box, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to read everything Lucindra says, but effectively, she talks about talking on the phone with a guy who said, this guy's name is Raphael. And he was talking mad shit about sparring with her. And you see the opening panel is Raphael on a pile of rubble wearing a chest pad, like a training fighting chest pad.
Yeah.
And this girl, like, dressed up like a superhero, like dead ass, like knuckles to him, like I just knocked your ass out. And you're like, oh, that's a pretty good opening.
Oh,
absolutely. That's a sharp image to start your comic with. You want to know more, right? And it does that well. So it's just her and a lot of, frankly, like I don't even know if I should call it jive talk or something. It sounds like what Rick Arthur thinks Black people talk like in the late 80s. Is all I'm going to say. It uses a lot of like lingo that maybe at the time was authentic. Maybe like your boy lived in New York and like, this is how Black people talk. I don't know. But, you know, it's just, we're talking a lot about like, that's fresh to the max and fresh hype and all this stuff. I'm like, all right, like whatever. Like, but it's of its time.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, it's like in his name, check this, Raphael. And he told me he belonged to something called the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's nothing but a lot of fresh hype, right? So basically, the whole idea, without reading all the dialogue, because there's a lot of the narrative, is that like, yeah, they got on the phone or something, and she didn't really buy it. She's like, TMNT, like, and your brothers are all named after Renaissance painters. So I do like it when guests come on and they kind of say like, this is a little ridiculous. Like
Mhm.
there's been a great history. Heenan and McQueenie do a great job with this. A lot of the guest stars come in, even though they might not be some of our favorite issues. They do
Right.
usually poke some pretty good fun at the Turtles. And this
Yeah.
woman does this. She's like, yeah, so his brothers are all named after Renaissance painters, which I was like, okay, bro. As long as you want to straight up fight, it's all good, basically.
Mhm.
So it's telling this entire story, and you see like the art is just showing Raph dick in the dirt,
Yep.
like belly up, non-responsive, and this girl is standing there telling this story. And so basically the deal is they fought, and you're now at the end where she says she basically won to
Yeah.
best like 2 out of 3 in
Yeah.
him against sparring. And you do see it that they're kind of a friendly rivalry. The only thing of remark here at the end is that like Raph seems like he's down, but then when she goes to like pick him up, he like starts like really fighting her, and
Yeah.
they both fight. She says obviously he's very strong. Like how does he get that much stamina? But then at the end, he's kind of like, "You won," and she's like, "Oh, cool, thanks."
Right.
And then they're walking away, and they're just, talking about sparring and yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, they make a joke about she goes, Raphael, check it, Kay. You're not bad for a turtle. And he goes, hey, what's that supposed to mean? She goes, if you want to warm up again, give me a dial at 1-800 Spar. and Raph goes, $2 a minute, great kid. So yeah, for those of you who don't know that
Yeah.
that used to be a thing.
The 1-800 numbers.
Yeah.
Well, it's
And
funny
then-
it says 1-800. That was the 1-800. Okay, what was the difference between 1-800 and 1-900?
I think 1-900 was the adults only.
The adult
phone number.
lines.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's what that
and then
was.
1-800's like you would have to like sign on to pay
Right.
per minute or
Yeah.
whatever. You
Yeah.
believe that shit? People used to be like, not only will I like pay a bill to just use a landline that
Yeah.
does nothing but make a phone call.
Yeah.
But I will also pay you money online or over the phone
Mm-hmm.
to talk to you about shit.
Right.
It just,
And then
I feel like there's just a file of things that will not like cross over to the next generation. Like they don't have an analog for. I guess the only thing you could really have is getting catfished by someone online, but that's a scam.
yeah.
This was not a scam.
No,
this
it
was
just
very
a
upfront.
service. Oh yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
service. You
Like,
know,
collect calls and like all that fun stuff. Yeah, and then texting.
because I'm trying to think of like, there's not gonna be an equivalent because porn's online, and I guess OnlyFans would be the closest thing to this.
That's true.
would
Yeah,
be
and
like,
Wilson said that in the chat too. Yeah.
Yeah, I will pay like a modicum of money, a small amount, and in an openly known thing where I get content from you and maybe talk to you and you get my money.
Patreon.
Yeah, OnlyFans is the closest, probably.
Patreon, maybe a little bit. Yeah.
And Patreon has moved into that too. Yeah. I mean, if you're at the $50 tier for us, I mean,
you get the front tail.
It's like those signs on 75 North. We bear all. You know
We bear
what I'm
all.
saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, but no, the comic. Okay, so I'm gonna say it's like comic was cool. Like if you were selling me, if you walked in, you're like, oh, I got an idea for turtle soup, and I'd be like, oh, cool. Like, what's your idea? And Rick Arthur's like, okay, so this girl basically like hooks up with Raph and like they spar. And most of the comic, you see like Raph's like dick in the dirt.
Yeah.
And this girl's just talking about how she met Raph. And then at the end, they like really fight some more. And then like Raph's cool. He's like, ah, man, like you win. Like, let's just chill.
Right.
I'd be like, I love that comic. Make that comic. Like, I love that. But then the execution, there's too much talking.
Yeah.
There's too much of the story. And I find the lingo, frankly, kind of cringy.
Yeah.
So
and it just throws
it's
you
a great
in there.
idea.
That's the thing. It throws you in and you don't know. You're kind of like it's like those movies or those videos that you're seeing where parents are teaching their kids to swim by just throwing the baby in the water. That kind of just feels like what this is. And you're just like, well, they learned to do it, but at the same time, it's terrifying.
Yeah. That was one thing I didn't know when I became a father, is that babies' throats close up automatically when they go into water if they're under a certain age. Did you know this?
No, I did not.
Little babies. I'm talking about like infant like in your arms, babies,
Right.
they can suffocate but not really drown as
Oh.
easily
Huh.
because they have like a response
Right.
that's literally like built in with evolution. If they are submerged in water, their throat closes up and it's really hard for them to breathe water in.
Oh, well, that's neat.
So if you're actually, this is weird, you're better off dropping like a 3-week-old in a pool and having to dive in after it than you would a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's actually safer to have a little kid in the water, like a baby in the water.
So that's
which
probably
is weird.
where all that comes from then. All the babies being thrown in the water, just like tossing them in so they can learn to swim.
Yeah, like that whole like that TikTok sensation of throw my 2-week-old in the water.
Right.
That's probably where it came from. But yeah, but like I gotta give it flavor because I think what he was going for was a bit of a Jackie Brown, almost like blaxploitation feel, which is cool. Like oh god, what's her name? Pam something? Pam Greer. Like a Pam Greer feel. Because on the phone I told the guy that the name is Lucindra and it's all in that kind of like African script. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, so I want to give it a lot of credit for heart. It's an ethnic story, which you don't get a lot of in the TMT universe, much less in the 80s comic universe.
Yeah.
I want to give it all that credit. So much credit. Just didn't totally land for me 100. But A for effort.
Yeah. I agree.
Cool story, cool idea. I don't know why I'm putting so much on it, but it's
no.
cool.
I like the idea that when the turtles have new human friends, I'm always a fan of that. But unfortunately, we're never going to see this lady again. So
yeah, which is sad.
It is. Well, but we are going to see some characters that come up in this next issue again, and we're moving on to Turtle Power by Rich Hedden and Tom McQueen.
Tom McQueen.
Which we've
very
seen
familiar. These guys,
yes,
man.
we have, and you have too. If you
they are Cracked. They are from Cracked magazine. They worked together on Cracked magazine. They did some bonkers issues of Mirage in the guest star era.
They did. And their art is great, but it's very absurd and surreal.
It is, but it feels like Cracked magazine. It's the craziest shit. How like. I don't know if Cracked magazine was somewhat informed by these two guys. Like they kind of made Cracked feel like how it is. Because I had a subscription to Cracked.
Yeah.
I had a subscription to Cracked when I was a kid. Love that shit. I had a subscription to Mad Magazine too, but something happened with it. And I stopped getting them. But Cracked never left me hanging.
Yeah.
This out or if Cracked like made them what they are.
Right.
But they are like universally joined to me.
Yeah.
And I love them.
And in the credits, not on the page that I could see, but like where I think I got it off of Turtlepedia, but that Guy Romano is credited as having something to do with this story as well, and they did work on Gen 13, so there's that.
Oh, interesting. Let me go back to the title page and see.
Yeah, I don't see it on here, but
he is like so on the table of contents under Turtle Power it says he McWeeny, and then smaller. It says Guy Romano.
Yeah. So so it's either lettering or
it sounds like colors maybe. Weird.
Yeah.
Either way.
Well, we open up with Turtle Power with the turtles being in the turtle shell logo.
Love the turtle shell logo for Turtle. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you see the turtle blimp in a Mirage book, which is wild. And you see the turtles, they're all in their red bandanas. And they say, "Get ready, guys. We've located Krang's secret hideout." And I'm like, "Excuse me? Excuse me? What?" And
especially because Hedden and McWeeny were so hard during their guest star era books. They were so hard on the 87 animated series. That was like a lot of their humor was like blowing that up.
Oh yeah,
like in the Mirage book. So it's funny that you see an opening panel where it's so 87. And that's what it is.
Yeah, it's almost like it almost feels like ribbing your highly successful friends on this cultural phenomenon that they've done and just reminding them how stupid this is. Like in a loving way. So the turtles are like driving the flying the turtle blimp, and then a giant like what looks like a hobby knife pokes through the hole in it. So they're going
Yes.
down and they crash, and you see Krang, and he looks like evil as shit. And
No,
so
he does a really good job. Yeah.
yeah. And so the turtles are down in the water and they're having to fight a shark and trying to get into a like kind of like a some sort of sewer grate pipe kind of thing underwater. But Krang goes, "Good, now perhaps I can finish my experiment without any further interruptions." And so you see the turtles making their way into his base, but then you see Krang and he looks even more evil in his little walker body.
His AT-AT walker body.
Yeah,
Yep.
he says, "Good boy, eat it all up. Good for you. It has everything necessary to help you grow into a nice big mutated beast." And then you see this little dog, and then it mutates into this giant dog. All of a sudden, the turtles end up punching a sewer grate or a manhole cover behind Krang, like up in the air, so that they could come fight Krang. And he goes, "It works! It works! Once my retro mutagen dog food hits the open market, the world will be overrun with an army of vicious creatures under my control."
I love the capitalism plus evil plan part of that plan. It's like I'm not just gonna like release it via like airdrop, like and like give all the dogs. Like I'm gonna put it on the market, make people buy it.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna have the dogs too.
Right. That's brilliant. So then the turtles show up and the art's very neat. It's very Heaton and McQueenie, but like it's not as bad. I don't know.
It's not silly.
Yeah.
Here. It's not as silly. Like their old art like had like really silly jokes all throughout the book. And it's not silly right now.
Yeah, no. It's exaggerated, but it's not silly. Well, the turtles show up and they throw a net over the dog, the mutant dog, and that's pretty much it. And they end up saying, "Now Krang, it's your turn," and they end up like trying to get Krang, but he explodes himself out of his walker chair and like through the window.
Body.
And he goes through the window, and then the whole thing is said to explode. So the turtles are like, "Oh, we got to get out of here." And so they make it out of the water and everything. And they're like, "All right, we did it. Turtle power. Yeah." And then you hear, "What the hell's going on in here?" And this angry mom shows up walking into her room, and she's yelling for Bart. "Bart, what are you doing? I told you not to play this wild inside." And you see that the whole scene is this kid. His room has been the scene of this comic that happened, because you have the turtle blimp in the fish tank. Yeah, all this stuff. You have the dog over here, just all these different things, and he's just playing with his turtle toys. And he goes, "Uh-oh," says Donatello, "it's the evil ogre queen." "Don't worry," replies Leonardo, "I got a plan." And that's the end of that.
I love this so much.
Yeah.
This last panel, by the way, guys, this is Heaton and McQueenie.
Yeah.
Like they saved all their like ridiculous shit for the last page of the short story, which I love.
Oh yeah.
And there's so much little detail. And if you go back, like scroll back through the comic, you see all the stuff that he was playing with.
Right.
So the X-Acto blades that come out of the ship, like that's what he used to pop the blimp with.
Yeah.
When it goes in the water, you see a shark, and that's like what he called the fish.
Yeah.
Even if you look on the ground, there's like an old treasure chest and like a guide, just like you'd see in the bottom of a aquarium.
That's wild.
That whole thing.
Oh yeah,
that was a thing back in the day where you put like the skeleton and the treasure chest at the bottom of your tank,
of your fish tank. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's just all this little stuff,
and then there's the window that's broken on the side where Krang flew out the window because he ejected. Yes. So
like it's So he broke a whole window to eject Krang out of his house. There's all this little detail, like if you notice in the behind the blimp. There's a portrait of canyon walls. And if you go back to when they escape from the turtle blimp, they climb that you see the canyon walls there.
Right.
Like sorry, it's when they're crashing.
When they're crashing.
Like there's canyon walls that they go down. Oh no, sorry, it's at the end. So go back to the end of the book page before that, you see
Yeah,
when they get out
bottom
of
left.
they climb these canyon walls to get out.
Mhm.
Well, that's the picture of the canyons and the water behind the turtle blimp on the wall.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that inspired that part.
that's just so good. And then
It's just really cool. And
yeah.
like, yeah, you see how the dog has like a sheet wrapped around him. And that
Yeah.
was the net they threw on the dog. Like,
And then you got the
it
turtle toys down here. Yeah, no, it's
yeah, and they're still wet from being like in the water because they had to get out, you know.
yeah,
It's great.
it is great. I dig this because I didn't really enjoy McQueenie and Heaton and McQueenie's stuff on the regular run of Mirage.
Yeah.
I appreciated it, but like that's not what I was here for. This was a lot better though. I did enjoy this probably because it was shorter and compact, but I definitely appreciate the attention to detail and all that's there. So
Well, it's also it's cool. It's kind of a love letter to playing with toys as a kid.
that's true. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And it's humorous. And then it's a comic that when you go back, it has a lot to look at.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize that's why Heaton and McQueenie were so 87.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you'd be like, why are they all 87 with no like little gags or anything weird? It's like, oh no, because that's in the kid's head.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That
don't
makes
know.
perfect
I
sense.
love it.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
So that is Turtle Soup Volume 2, number 1. So
Okay, so we have to rank them real fast.
Okay.
So there were 6 stories.
Right.
Toyota, the guy in the shower, Turtles Attack, which had the dude with the Roman Legion crotch, and the time travel.
Right.
The Purpose of Fear, right? That cool story. The Ring, which was him tripping out. Lucindra, and then Turtle Power, which was the last story. Which would you say was your favorite of those 6?
Purpose of Fear. The Purpose of Fear had to
Oh,
have been.
nice.
Yeah. Because I don't know, it just hit different, and I don't know, I just got a lot out of it, and I enjoyed the art style.
Yeah, I would say that's probably my number 2. I got to
Okay.
give the number 1 to Turtle Power, the last comic we read.
Okay.
Because to me, it was, of all of them, the most unique.
Right.
And I thought it was very interesting. Like
Yeah.
the way, I like that there was like little stuff hidden all throughout it when you went back. It was
Okay.
that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What'd be your number 2?
My number 2 would be Turtles Attack, because that's
Okay.
the most the closest to Mirage Volume 1 kind of Turtles, where something would happen and time travel and stuff, and I always appreciate how they did it back then, and I still like it now. So
I think the Purpose of Fear is my number 2. It's very close because that could very easily be my number 1 depending on the right day.
right.
My number 3 is probably Turtles Attack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 3 would be The Ring, because that again is in line with Mirage Volume 1. Like that's a Mirage Volume 1 story that you would see, and so I dig that.
Let's see. My number 4. I'd say The Ring.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number 4 would probably be Lucindra, because again, that is a Mirage style story that you would have seen.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for that. So
yeah, I would just put that at my 5.
okay.
It's the same thing because it's kind of like cool vibe, cool effort, and a unique story.
Yeah.
That I think if it was just literally executed a little different, it could be my number 2.
Right.
As far as an idea and what it was doing goes, but execution was a little down, so it kind of made it fall a little bit.
And I do kind of love the idea that I'm just now thinking about this, that Raphael is the only, granted in different continuities, but having the idea that Raphael is the only person who makes contact with other humans and then brings them into the circle.
It's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing thing.
So I do like that. So in that respect, and of course for having just more variety of people in the Turtles' lives is always fun. And so, yeah, no, I dig that.
Yeah.
My number 5 would be Turtle Power, because it's just well done.
That Turtle Power fell down the rankings for you.
Yeah, I mean, Mirage Volume 1 is hard. Any kind of things. Now, granted, that they do pay homage because they did Mirage Volume 1 stories.
Yeah,
but
they literally did it.
Yeah, but it just happened to be this story is one based on the 87 series. But I do appreciate everything we talked about with it. Like, I like the whole homage, and I love the art style, and it's great. And stuff, but it's not what I'm going to Mirage Volume 1 for, though. So
then we both rank Toyota the lowest.
Yeah, and in fairness,
it's funny.
It's not even necessarily a Ninja Turtle story. It's just a turtle story that's like,
yeah, it could be anyone, because it doesn't matter that it's a turtle.
Yeah,
it's
all. Like Mr. Magoo
that never comes up.
Almost. Yeah,
it's basically Mr. Magoo. It doesn't that he thinks that the X-ray glasses work or whatever. I don't totally understand that one.
Right. So, yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Well, we ranked them up. I think it's funny that my number 1 was your number 5.
Yeah.
That's hilarious, because we ran pretty close the rest of the way. Weirdly.
Yeah.
Because like you had Purpose of Fear as your first. It was my second by a nose.
Right.
It could, like I said, if it was tomorrow, I might say it's my number 1.
Yeah.
Very close. Then we kind of felt the same kind of way about things until the bitter end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I think you put the Ring higher than me too. I think that was the other thing you did.
I did.
I like the Ring. I like the Ring a lot. Yeah. It's about mid-run. I think I put it around my 3 or 4, and that's about where it is for me.
Yeah, that's where it was for me too. But
yeah.
But yeah,
cool. I like doing that. I like ranking them. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's fun to think about anthology books because like this. I'm glad they exist. I don't enjoy them in the midst of a story. I find them asinine in the midst of a story.
Yes, God damn, I feel the exact same way. When I'm reading an anthology, I'm like, come on.
Yeah, like, I don't need this. However, contextualizing it as if, hold on, like, because again, you got to go back to the time period.
Oh.
You have indie boys, Kevin and Peter, that actually do it. They're living the dream. They're making it. And they're also like legit and pretty cool. So they're going to give you the opportunity to write these characters that are changing the world right now. That like every eye is on this person. Like these are like the Jake Paul. These are all the rock. Well, what was the rock stars, but are now all of the internet celebrities or the influencers. That's what the Turtles effectively were. And then by proxy, their creators, Kevin and Peter. So like, when I think about it in that context, it makes sense, and I appreciate it a lot more. But like when it's just like it has nothing to do. It's almost, dude, I've talked about our conversation about riddles so much in the last like 2 weeks. It's been insane, but I'm going to bring it up again. It almost feels like the thing that you talk about with riddles, like, because you don't know if any of this is going to ever come back. We don't know if we're going to see this person. So why am I getting invested in it? So in that regard, I love whenever there's just show, like, I love the Heaton and McQueenie and the Mark Martin approach where it's absurdist kind of stuff. I love that.
Yeah. But it's an anthology story.
Yeah.
Like knowing it goes nowhere else.
Right. And so I'm kind of speaking out of two sides of my mouth because all my rankings were based on like their relation to how Mirage number 1
relation to canon.
Right. But
the thing I would knock the Turtles attack for is it doesn't even end. It just says to be continued. It's like, what happened?
That's fair, but we do have 2 more issues of this to go.
Yeah.
So but in the idea of the anthology, so just stories in general, my rankings stand. But in the context of an anthology book, I think it would be reversed. I think that I would much rather, with the exception of, I think my number 1 would still be the same because of the
Purpose of Fear is a perfect anthology story.
Yeah,
because it really is.
Because it's less about the characters, you know them so you can expedite the story, but the story isn't about character movement. It's just about illustrating a idea. And so I love that element of it, and then the absurdity of Martin and Heenan McQueenie's stories. Those I appreciate for anthology books. I think those are that's actually better served in those. So
it's
so I'm
funny.
anxious to
It's
see
funny. It seems like Kevin and Peter would go on to be like, instead of Turtle Soup, what if the Mirage issues were this?
Yeah.
And it's always interesting, like you said. It's always a point that I think sets the TMNT and the comics up way different than other comics, where they were indie, like you're saying, they were indie. They did live the dream. They, out of all their friends, they had the comic that blew up. Like they won the lottery.
Yeah.
And then they let all their friends do this thing. And it is so unique, and it shows so much, not only in these anthologies, but that these are a bit of a pattern for what Mirage would come to be. Like very soon, Mirage would be Turtle Soup all the time.
Right.
And some of that, they were one-off issues that would kind of irritate us, because we're like, where's the lore? Exactly. Sometimes you get the river out of it.
Oh,
and you're like, oh shit. Like sometimes giving somebody 3 issues is the best thing that ever happened to the Turtles. So I always find that to be a very interesting thing.
Right. Yeah, I agree. But all right, well, I'm anxious to see what's going to happen in these next 2 issues. So again, we've got more Turtle Soup issues in the pipeline. I'm gonna try to get my dad to record something, because he won't come on the podcast live, but I'll probably get him. I think he's too nervous.
Let me work on him, man.
I'll try to ask him again.
Give me to the house. Give me to the house. Let me work on him.
Right. Okay.
Personally,
because if we could do it like where we can film it and we can just play it for y'all, and as part of the show, like we'll still be here, but like we'll just have it running. That might be a better thing. But I definitely found the video, so I've got the video of MGM.
Or maybe if he'd be cool with audio and no video, we could take the video you made and put it over the audio for the YouTube and play that almost as a segment. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. It'd
be almost like it'll be like, like those kind of like sad ass like nostalgia videos where it's just like videos of just like shit from the 90s and then like slowed down indie songs.
Yeah.
Well, your dad would be the slowed down indie song.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be fun one way or the other.
Hear me out. Hear me out. It'd be great.
No, I believe it. I believe it.
Let's get together and work on David. Because I think if it was more of just there's microphones and there's no camera and we're just having a conversation, we could wind up editing it to get the best out of it. I think that might be the way to get him. Yeah. Is to start talking about back in the day and then bring up MGM and just let it kind of flow. Yeah. Maybe. We'll talk about it.
We'll figure it out. But one way or the other, we do have footage of MGM and the Turtles appearance there. That's coming up. And then the 2000s are right there. Like I think that's pretty much it. And so and then we had so much fun playing the serial board game. Farmer Greg has been begging me for years that he wanted to play the Pizza Power game, so that's in the works too. So we got lots of stuff like in the old percolator. So
it worked out really well.
And
obviously, guys, after like the whole month of November has been really rough. We appreciate everyone's patience for us being away for so long. It's been tough. The holidays usually are a little tough for us. But given the roadmap we have, and given just how we're gonna be knocking out some of this, Turtle Soup, like volumes and issues, just trying to get it going, we should be back with a lot more and stuff. We appreciate your patience as always.
Absolutely. So if you want to get a hold of us, you can do that by going to turtlesoupshow.com. That's the home of the internet. All our episodes are up there, and you can also find us wherever you listen to podcasts, and that's always fun. And then if you can rate and review on those, that'd mean a lot to us. And yeah, if you could find us on the socials, we're on a lot of them. I'm not sure which ones are relevant anymore, but we're on at least a handful of them. And so we do post there. And then we're definitely on Facebook. We still have the Facebook group,
Yeah.
and it is still going and growing strong.
Yeah.
So yeah, join that if you're so inclined. And then yeah, if you want to help keep the show and the lights on and everything, go over to Patreon, find Turtle Soup's done been making a podcast, and your boy Easy's done been making a shirt that is the it's, I don't know if you remember, it was from the cereal box, and it's April O'Neil, and she's her cleave, like she has no cleavage, but her top is like just like super V-neck, but there's no cleavage, and she's looking at her wristwatch, and I put on there, I was like, do they even talk, when did they talk about turtles? And
Oh
yeah. So
man, I need to see that.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
That's really okay.
Yeah.
I need to see that. I've not seen that design.
That's for all the.
When do they talk about turtles? God damn, that's so good.
Yeah, so it's pretty fun. So so I'm gonna try to get that done out and ready pretty soon, and then yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So again, like and subscribe here on YouTube and leave comments, all that fun stuff.
Yeah,
and yeah, until next time.
Elsetime.
And we're back.
Chat, y'all wild. Y'all
Yes.
wild, chat. Freaking I love Evan Roberts drops in just to say I love Ryan's hat. Definitely has I just hope both teams have fun vibes. I'm wearing if you're on the audio, I'm wearing an MLB umpires hat. It's a hat that I wanted to get since I started watching baseball, and I finally tracked one down. It's black and it just has the white MLB logo.
Yeah.
And I know it as an umpire's hat, but it's funny that Evan's like, yeah, it's just like he's like non-denominational baseball hat. And it's true. It's what it is. It's just non-denominational. And then the funniest part about the whole hat to me is that on the back, it just has a little version.
It's just tinier.
Because like all the baseball hats have the MLB on the back, right. But it's funny because normally that's a different thing than the front.
Right.
But this time it's that, and then you roll it and it's like, you want the big one or the little one?
Right. All right, so we got some good names. Thank you guys for chiming in because we didn't have much of anything. John Clemens with a bunch. Donahue
Yeah,
Trippin,
seriously.
Fashion Peaked with the Roman Empire. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
M with the 45 wrist snapper. That's pretty good. Uh, so yeah.
45 caliber toga front piece.
Oh.
Man. There this one is a little difficult to name because the guy wearing the Roman Legion leather belt thong thing is hilarious. He also looks a little bit like Elvis, so I can see like a leather daddy Elvis going on or something like that, but it's a little off the mark. It's pretty abstract, and we never make a joke about him being a leather daddy on the show.
But you do talk about him for a minute. You do go about
I do drill in on like
his Roman thong.
That the Roman thingy worked. Leather Daddy Elvis is a nice title though.
That's not a bad title. That's not
it's
a bad title.
It's not a bad. Well, it calls back to Leather Daddy Leo.
It does.
Like so, it's kind of like. Let's see.
I don't know. I kind of like that.
A nickname for a character in a comic will never be as funny as Skull Dick Punisher.
No, Skull Dick Punisher was the best.
Skull Dick Punisher came up in my mind like literally like the other day for no reason.
Yeah.
And I was like, Skull Dick Punisher.
Skull Dick Punisher. Oh.
I wish. I like the meaning of fear.
That's great.
Other like. I feel like we're close to a pun on like either fear is the mind killer or purpose of something. There's something. I wish that the turtles were manatees instead, because I'd say the porpoise of fear.
Oh, that would have been great.
Man,
a tease.
Who remembers The Movement of Fear by Tones on Tail? That's a cool song. M knows that song.
I remember the shirt you wear.
M.
My wife would remember it.
M, you know that Movement of Fear, right? Tones on Tail.
M knows all the music.
I just want to hear him say he knows it. That was the first song by Tones on Tail I ever heard. It was on the Blair Witch soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
And then that began my love affair with Tones on Tail. And how that's the direction I go in the Great Bauhaus Split. Love and Rockets and Kiss My Ass.
Oh, dang.
Sorry.
I bet you
Sorry.
I bet
I
you
know I'm the underdog, but Tones on Tail's got it for me.
I bet you M probably traded synthesizers with them too. Probably
he probably did.
Absolutely. He's got his fingers in everything.
Lash and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They sell the last synth I got off Ronnie back in the day. Did you trade like a synth warehouse with him? Because I feel like you've been trading that last synth now for a while, M. Or the headphones or the whatever.
That's so good.
About to sell the last synth, man. Okay, damn. The answer is just yes. Yes, I traded him.
Yes.
We swapped piles of shit. Oh man.
I like Leather Daddy Elvis.
Yeah. Leather Daddy.
Or
can we get something that's like also an L so we get alliteration instead of Elvis? Like I might just be shining the top of an already shiny thing, but like
that's true.
This is Leather Daddy, but it has something to do with that guy being a time boy. Probably not.
Time boy.
Yeah, probably not.
Turtle Soup Boy. No.
Leather Daddy Elvis.
Leather Daddy L time.
Leather. Yeah, I know.
Time that has an L.
Like the only word I can think associated with time is like is like linear. But it doesn't Leather Daddy linear? I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. So obviously we can't use it then because
Lord Slumataneous.
Oh.
That's actually clever. That's actually clever as fuck, actually. If you actually think about Lord Slumataneous, because it's like he's trying to be Lord Simultaneous, but he's
Yeah.
not, because he's like
Yeah.
Leather Daddy Elvis. So you're kind of slumming it if you're with that guy versus
Okay.
Lord Simultaneous. That's actually that's got fucking layers.
Okay. Do you want to go with that? Because I can get behind
Lord
that.
Slumataneous. I wish we would have made a joke during the episode that basically he's Lord Simultaneous from Timu or from Wish or something like that, because that would have really sold
Didn't
it.
you say that earlier? You said something, or maybe somebody in the chat said that he's what
Yeah,
you
we have Lord Simultaneous at home. God damn it, that's so good. That's what he is. He's a one shot Lord Simultaneous.
I kind
That's
of
what we
like
got,
him
baby.
though. I kind of like it, but we can call him that.
Well, what's there to dislike? He's like, I
Oh,
got buttons. Oh shit! I mean, that's all he does.
that's true. I'm just trying to figure out his hairline.
Although,
Like,
does are we convinced that that Lord Simultaneous doesn't like live in some kind of incel future? Because did you notice that like she just got randomly assigned to come to his house
that's
for a
true.
date? I'm like,
That's true. Yeah.
are you living in like incel future timeline?
I mean, are they into Roman attire? Because I don't
Right?
know.
Oh, John Clemens mentioned the Wish app Marvin the Martian. I think someone,
Ah,
either it was John or somebody else, said that up top.
yeah.
Somebody said that up top because I remember seeing that. Okay,
Yeah, see, I'm thinking that might be
Lord
Renee.
Simultaneous.
But that she's just saying her name is Betty Clean. And yeah. So
She's just going place to place.
it
She's
could
like
be. Who
finding all the
knows?
Time Lords.
Who knows?
Well, Lord Simultaneous is a real bastard, though.
Uh
That's kind of what I
he,
like about him.
he is and he isn't.
At first, he's a real bastard.
At first he's a real bastard. You're absolutely right. But
Oh, John says it was him that said that he was Wish at Marvin the Martian.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Says you're just throwing things at the wall. That's what I do all the time.
Just throw them. Just throw them. See what sticks. I do from the window to the wall, but
Until the sweat runs down my balls.
exactly. Sounds like we were ending the episode, but we haven't ended it yet. We got to name it.
No, we haven't. All right, so you ready for Lord Simultaneous?
Lord
Slumataneous.
Slumataneous.
Lord Slumataneous.
You're gonna have to say that. I don't have.
And shit! Didn't we say it was Lord Simultaneous and the Cosmic Quartz or something like that?
Yes.
Lord Slumataneous and the
Gauntlet Whores.
Oh. See that with a straight face? Holy shit! Woo. We'll have to. So to get around like using bad words on a printed episode title, we'll say like whores
or horse.
So, the gauntlet. What? That makes no sense. Well, no, this fucking podcast doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Lord Slumataneous and them old crying Indian boys.
Oh, snap.
No. No.
Old Colonel Booter.
Is that grandfathered in? Like being native, like we're okay to say old crying Indian boys, right? Because that's gotta be grandfathered in, right?
Well,
no?
I mean,
oh, he says it at work a lot. Like M's on the reservation walking around like doing real man shit, like tapping trees for sap and all that cool shit he does. And he sees some native kid just like weeping about some dumb shit. He's like, oh look, it's Em and the crying Indian boy. You know what I mean? Like I gotta be like, damn, bro, that's crazy.
Lord,
he's just like throwing out digs, bro.
Oh,
all right, we're grandfathered in. It's okay.
Okay. Well, what do you want to?
Lord Slumataneous and the Gauntlet Horse is what you want me to say, or are we just going for Lord Slumataneous?
It's up to you, man. It's whatever you feel.
And the Gauntlet Horse. I'll try it.
Oh,
You want me to give you two versions?
yeah, give me
And
two
you can make that
versions.
call in editing?
Yeah,
Okay.
that works. Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is
All right.
328.
328. Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Turtle Soup, episode 320H.
Lord Slummatamius. Wait, Slummatamius? What the fuck?
Slumataneous.
See, it's a tongue twister.
It is.
It's slumataneous. Like simultaneous. Slumataneous.
Slumotaneous.
Sim,
Do you see it
Lord,
where M wrote it?
Yeah, simultaneous. Slumultaneous. Okay, I got it.
You're throwing an extra L in there. I think. You're throwing slumultaneous. You're throwing the L, but
Oh, it's like slumultaneous.
slumotaneous.
That's it. That's it without the L. Like, okay, I got it. Slumotaneous.
There
is
you
how
go.
M says slumotaneous.
That's so good.
But not, and now you're saying it different than you you saying it. You're saying it different than you said it before. You said slumotaneous as your pronouncement, but in your original thing it was slumultaneous, which I think is actually funnier.
Okay,
Slumultaneous is hilarious.
with the extra L. I think it's funny, but
slumultaneous, slumo.
Simultaneous.
I put a little Florida on it.
I guess I put the L in there too.
Slumultaneous. Is it? Do we want to go slumotaneous or slumultaneous?
Slumultaneous is funnier.
Simultaneous. Slumultaneous.
Slumultaneous.
You could be talking about that tangy shit. You're killing me. That's almost Roman. True. It's damn near. It's so close. It's almost Latin at this point. We're just breaking down the English language into old Latin words. Like, if you said slumultaneous, like you might have been like strip stabbed in Rome. That might have been like
that's some
and your mother
E2,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, like someone be like, "What the fuck did you say to me?" Oh my god, it's almost Roman. All right, here we go. Slumultaneous. All right, got it.
Oh, one more thing. I forgot about this. Here, I'm gonna jump to. I'm gonna go back.
To me now. I'm gonna forget it.
No, simultaneous. Just keep saying it. But no. Did you see what it said? I saw this and about died, but I forgot about it. Can you? Do you see what happens when the door? I saw bing bong bing. And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Bing bong
no.
bing. Yeah, that's terrible. You get off of that shit.
Yeah, no, we can't go. We can't go back to that.
Bing bong.
When that guy comes up and
said ping pong ping. Have you seen that podcast where I think it's called like Bad Friends or whatever? Have you seen clips from that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Dude, okay, so it's these two comedians, like one of them's Asian, one of them's like a kind of a ginger haired dude, like white guy. And their whole thing is they basically just do the naughty parts of Turtle Soup from like 12 years ago. Now.
Okay.
They just literally try to make each other laugh, and they just say truly awful shit. And I'm like, you and I were doing that 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're funny as hell. Like they're really, really funny. But it is like, it's rough, but it's what we were doing back in the day. I mean, this old ping pong ping, it reminds me of like shit we used to do that now we're like, are we gonna get canceled over that one day?
Yeah,
like,
we might need to be careful.
Back in time and be like, hey, what'd you say?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Simultaneous.
You got it?
Yeah. I got to get off axis a little bit because this is going to be loud. Go ahead.
Turtle Soup, episode 320H.
Lord Slumultaneous.
That was good. Turtle Soup, episode 320H.
Lord Slumultaneous. and the Gauntlet Whores.
The Gauntlet Whores. Oh, that's so good.
I think if you spelled it like Whores, like you could probably get away with it.
Oh, probably. Like,
Do you got any direction for that? Or...
No, that was it. I think that was One Take Jake.
Oh shit.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm only going to use the first one you did, so you know. The first takes you do, like I just use those anyway.
just I'm not gonna listen to all of them again.
No,
I'm just gonna use the first one.
I don't have time for that. No, absolutely not.
You better get the first take, Jake, because that ain't gonna work.
How do you spell Whores? Is it like
Coors?
Coors.
Ask Lex, because Lex at one point, her and I had a big inside joke where she would say like, "Oh yeah, that's like these whores," and she actually spelled it totally correctly. I can't remember how you do it.
Okay,
but I remember reading it, going, "Oh, that's literally how you spell that."
Okay, yeah,
like she got it or something. Like it was a thing. Just text Lex and say, "How do you spell whores?" But when you say whores,
right?
So M saying Hoors.
Okay, like Coors. Yeah.
Yeah, like Coors. Yeah, Coors.
Coors. That's what I said. Coors.
The banquet beers. The banquet. the banquet of beers. Whores. The banquet beer. Why? M's on another one. I think M started dropping. I think M started tripping when your boy Donnie started tripping.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's
earlier in the issue. He's like, "I'll drop a tab right now because
don't mind if I do."
Yeah, don't mind if I diddly do.
Yeah.
Oh man. Ping, 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 pong, ping, 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 pong. All the ladies saying ping.